know if it's working. Says we're live. Perfect. All right. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Everyone has their copy of the agenda, the minutes, and the financial reports. Minutes and financials were sent in email as per usual. I need a motion for all three, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. New business, we hired part-time in the office, Crystal Strobel. She is our new hire. I just need an official, vote to have her hired. So I need a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passed. I know this is not on the agenda, but, I'm gonna go ahead and add it. John Wetzel's here with Commonwealth. This way he can kind of get his stuff in and then he can leave promptly. So,
Can I intervene on
absolutely.
how this started? We had a worker over work this weekend, water main break, water main break, things like that. And, so we shut it down, we figured out something going on. Monday morning, came in, told Karen, I said, me and Mr. Wetzel, and we need to hold him. I actually messaged you, I'm sorry I messaged you too late. I said, we need to get him on some type of retainer or something before it gets real bad over there on this water project. And, supposed to be calling in the board members, let you know, but I just wanted to really have it on a retainer.
Right, yeah, I made that phone call, got the three approval, the votes, so. All right, John, we're gonna give you the floor.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to be here. I do appreciate the opportunity. More fortunate to work with you guys in the town in the past on numerous water wastewater projects. We really do appreciate the opportunity. Before we get into this, I want to back up just a little bit and just from an overall water system standpoint here in the town proper. You know, town has had water mains for 60, 70 years here in town. A lot of the original mains were asbestos cement mains, and over time, even beginning back in the late 70s, they've kind of been systematically replaced in a good chunk of the town proper. However, the one segment, the longest segment that still exists of that old AC line is along 545, and it starts there at the alleyway north of 66. And it goes all the way north. It's actually in the road, all the way up just past Sycamore Street right there. Then at Sycamore Street, it gets off the road into the grass, off the road a little bit, and continues on. And there's an 8-inch main that comes there and kind of hits right there. So here in town, that's one of, if not the oldest section in town, one of the oldest sections in town that's still in place. There are a couple other smaller sections, I think, that still have AC line, but for the most part, over the years, most of the AC line's been replaced and has newer PVC primarily pipe in there. We'll kind of flash forward or flash back again to kind of late fall, and as everybody probably painfully knows, NDOT redo 66 and 545 through town. There was a pre-construction meeting that NDOT had regarding that project, and John, if I say anything out of line here, make sure you correct me on that, but I think you and Devin attended that pre-construction meeting. And one of the things that they were going to do on 545, well, I guess first on 66, they were impacting some of your sanitary sewer lines, and you had an agreement in place with them to replace that, but there was a cost to the town. That was extraordinary cost, but the town paid a portion of that. And the state took care of any overage then over that amount you had to pay. But along 545, the work that they were looking to do then consisted of a few different things. One, they were gonna mill and repave 545 all the way from 66, just past or to the north of Sycamore Street, just past Dollar General. At each of the crossroad intersections at Market, Walnut, Proxman, Sycamore, they were gonna put new, curbing and ramping there. And I think most of that, a good chunk of that's done, especially on the west side of the road. They were also gonna put a couple inlets, or actually 3 inlets, I think it was, at Walnut Street, and I think 1 or 2 at Proxman. I think they were looking to put in on Proxman. And they were also gonna do some deep patching, along primarily the east side of the road in different places as you go north. And that deep patching was more than just milling 3-4 inches of asphalt for paving. That was going down about 18 to 8 inches to 2 feet. And so they were digging out the bed of the road, so to speak. Technically, that didn't make a direct conflict with your water main, but you can't get much closer than that. So after that pre-construction meeting, talked to John and Devin, and we really reviewed the NDOT plans for 545. And we did note that we thought there was gonna be some direct conflict right at the Walnut Street intersection with those inlets. So there was a meeting that was set up back in December with some local NDOT reps. We went over to Perry County, to the highway department there, and had a meeting with them to voice concerns about, hey, we do feel that there's a couple of direct impacts right there at the intersection of 545 Walnut with those inlets that are putting in. We're also concerned doing this work over a 60-plus-year-old main there that's asbestos cement, and doing deep patching, you're going to be in close contact with that. Vibe we got from them, what they said was, hey, look, it's not a direct conflict, and we'll work out the inlets once construction comes, and we'll move them a little bit to avoid main. Nothing we can do right now, sorry. I guess I'll flash forward to a few days ago, and the issues you had there with them digging up Main right there, digging over the main right there at Walnut Street, having leaks over the weekend on that. I know John and Devin have been having a lot of communication with NDOT and the NDOT contractors and representatives about this since then. We kind of talked about it best before everybody get together and have a meeting, and what options are there. It's probably not the best scenario for anybody to leave, a 60-some-year-old main in place, and if you do pave over it, what are the chances of having problems immediately? So that meeting took place today. NDOT had probably 5 to 6 different people there, and I'm sorry, I don't know if everybody was in attendance of that or.
Stan and Adam.
So everybody kind of heard that meeting, but NDOT did come back right away and said, well, we have a couple options that we can look at. One would be looking at it as a whole, the whole segment, or we can look at it as just right there above where we got from at Walnut Street. And they admitted that they need to go back and talk to their central district and kind of look at options that would be available. There was some discussion about, you have an existing extraordinary cost reimbursement for the sewer. Maybe that could be utilized for this, but they have to go back to their central district. So I guess flash forward about 25 minutes after that meeting was over, John got a call from Daniel NDOT, and his take was, hey, talk to central office, and central office does feel that we could look at that segment as a whole, and possibly consider relocating that whole segment of Main all the way from the alleyway north of 66, north of Sycamore Street. He said we probably got a couple different options. Sitting here right now, I don't know how this could work, but a couple different options would be, one, NDOT would do a change order with their contract to include that water main replacement in the existing, their contractor's work. Second option would be maybe the town could move forward with it, and the town would hire or bid out and hire a contractor to do that. And his take was option 2 right now probably would be the better of the options. But he did say, you know, still gotta do some talking internally, not sure how that would work. What we talked about was, so does that mean, you know, we could do this under extraordinary cost participation? The answer was yes. He said we have that existing extraordinary cost participation there, but, one concern, I think that, you know, I think that they would probably come back. In the past, NDOT's always looked at it on a utility basis. They looked at it sanitary sewer, and they looked at, you know, separately water. We think they would probably come back and say, hey, this is the water, we'll do extraordinary cost participation for your water utility. What they typically do on extraordinary cost participation, maybe you guys already know this, but they'll look at your revenue in the past year, and they'll make you pay 10% of that revenue. Anything over and above that, they would cover the cost of it. And round numbers, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in 2023, your water revenue was somewhere around 480,000, and maybe 2024, roughly 520,000, somewhere in that range. If they look at it like that, the town roughly would have to pay $50,000 for that cost. And over and above that, if they do this extraordinary cost, they would take care of costs above that.
John, have you?
Basically, what he's saying is, the sewer work you had done, or had contractor figure out a project out there, you'll pay $22,000.
Yeah, that's 10% of what the
That's
sewer is.
maximum on your sewers.
Yeah.
And after that, the states will take care of it. We're trying to get to fall under the sewer also, where we pay $22,000, but then we'll probably separate it, say, okay, you met your maximum for your sewer, now we'll make you start over on water, 10% of your revenue. So for $50,000, we'll, $50,000 roughly, and we'll pay for this water main, we read that from alley by the barber shop, dollar store, we will 100% reimburse you after that $50,000. So we can literally possibly get a whole brand new water main from down here all the way up dollar store for $50,000.
And when we met with NDOT in December, we did a rough calculation of what that potential cost would be. And I'll just start by saying this, when we look at it, that's a difficult area to do a replacement. In a roadway, there's a lot of utilities around there. There are laterals or service lines that come off of that main. At each of the intersections, you're tied in with those mains coming into the intersections. It is not an easy project. But we had estimated over $800,000 at that time. And that was please keep in mind, that was a very preliminary look at it. One of the things when Daniel called back that we talked about, you know, I'll just say this, in an ideal world, if you're not under a travel lane, you know, if you're on the sidewalk, it's probably better. In an ideal world, but, you know, we did kind of mention, Daniel, hey, you know, because you're repaving the roadway, would you look to, you know, make a stay in the roadway as opposed to being out on the sidewalk? His response was, yeah, would. They wouldn't want to destroy the sidewalk and redo all the sidewalk and then redo the roadway. So I think he would like to keep it in the roadway for that segment.
Wasn't originally they're gonna tear the sidewalk and curb that like they did 66? When Pooter was here,
We'll let out 2028.
when Pooter was here, he was talking to them about putting it under the sidewalk.
But I think NDOT broke the project up because of cost.
Yeah.
And said, we'll do that part sometime later, and broke the project.
What is that going to do if we agree to, let's say, the $50,000 for the replacement of that line? That also changes their scope from a mill and overlay to a deep impact of changing those lines. So for those change orders that's going to happen, for them to change their scope of work, how much of that is going to fall back onto the town to take care of?
It should be nothing.
Should be.
Whatever they do with their contractor, that should not be
Yeah, that
part of it.
Because, I mean, that's a big difference between a mill and overlay and now doing a deep impact through
Well, I
a
think,
stretch.
keep in mind, part of the water main work that would be done, if it's done this way, water main installation would likely be in the road. There's multiple ways it could be done. Likely, it would probably have to be open cut. And, you know, when you put the main in, you're gonna be doing backfill, you're gonna handle backfill and compact it and everything else. So that water main would include everything kind of up to just below the asphalt, so to speak. And then I think they would probably come in right after the water main work would be done and then put their asphalt over there. I think the water main installation would account for digging, putting the pipe in and bringing it back up, so they would still probably just be doing asphalt.
Are they gonna leave the old line then?
It would have to be, you have to get the new main in
Yeah,
before the old main could come out.
but when we asked them out there, when we went up there, they was gonna, they said they leave the old main in there.
Yeah, and if you can, when you get the new main in, if you could cut and cap at places and leave that old main in the ground then. Now, I will say this, on some areas, NDOT has viewed AC pipe as, ooh, that's bad,
They gotta take
get
it
it
out.
out of the ground. We've been involved, or I've been involved in a couple of different projects, where AC pipe was involved. I'll say this, one of them, they looked at the cost of what that was gonna be and said, just keep it, let's just leave it in place. Cut and cap, leave it in place. However, we did have another one where they said, yeah, get it out of there. You have to verify what they want, getting that out of there, it almost doubles your cost.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why I'm wondering of what are the other mitigating costs that are gonna go with it, whether or not,
If it's under external, the extra extenuating
It's-
circumstances, we pay the 10%.
yeah, we pay the, well, of what our utility is, but due to their scope of work is going to
That's
potentially
option one
increase.
of changing making the change order to the contract.
Mhm.
Option two is the extenuating circumstances. That's how Daniel is explaining it. Option one or option two.
And either, my understanding though, on either option of that, even if it would be done as a change order with their contractor, they would still look to you for that extraordinary cost and still make you pay that 10% or roughly $50,000. Also from a timing standpoint, this is not something that can be done immediately. We're sitting here in mid-August. The first thing that he wanted, that he asked for was, hey, if you could get together a work plan, and they have a work plan template, it's about 5 pages. Because we really like that to get filled out. We need a drawing, not a final drawing where it's ready to be bid or anything, but we need a good preliminary drawing on the NDOT plan sheet showing what that work is along with the cost estimate. And then he would take that, go back to his central office and create a highway reimbursement agreement that the town could review and possibly execute with them. He did say that would take roughly a month to 2 months to get, but sitting here today, there's no way that this is going to be done this year.
Nope.
The water mains, if it proceeds, the water main construction would likely be probably next spring. If that's the case, just looking at what they have out there, I'm assuming they would say, hey, we're not gonna do any milling this fall, let's leave it where it is. We'll put flowable fill or something in the holes we got now to get that to where people can drive as normal through the winter. And then at some point next spring, when the water main work will be ready to go, if you bid it, however, the contractor gets in place and he's ready to go at that point, that's when the road would have to either be closed down and or at least lane restricted to put the water main in. And again, that water main construction is probably gonna take 3 months or so. I don't know exactly, but that's a lot of, it's hard work.
That's probably, might even be pushed.
Yeah.
And then if they gotta take the old one out, there ain't no way they can get it done in 3 months.
Yeah.
When we was out there that day, Brian said, we had said something to him, he acted like we could probably leave it in there, but that's just him thinking, till he finds out from.
I think if they see the cost of it,
They'll probably leave it.
overall, I'll just say this, I wasn't expecting him not to come back with that alternative. I think that it actually is the best case scenario for the town.
Yeah, especially after the meeting we met with them last fall, they just
Yeah.
happened to
I
say,
would think then we was talking about sidewalks. If we keep it the road and then we'll come back and pave over it, we won't have to pave over it.
yeah.
We would put in the sidewalks, we should rip all the sidewalks out. We don't
Well,
want to
see,
have to redo the sidewalks.
Originally, they was tearing all that out like they did 66, they prolonged it now.
2028, we'll come back, rip it out again.
So, what do you think our best option is?
I've
Right
always,
now?
I've always felt that the utility, you know, if you own that main, if you can keep control of the project and hire a contractor, that contractor's job is specifically to relocate that water main.
And
And
nothing
he's
else?
working directly for you, for the town. I've always felt that's best for a utility. Could it be done as part of the NDOT contract? Yeah, and some towns or utilities allow that to happen. But, always felt like it's your main and you have a contractor hired directly contracted to you for that work. That probably gives you the most control of everything, how it goes, and directly, you know, working with them to get a good product. They have the purse string, so I don't
Yeah.
know what ultimately they're gonna come back and,
And you would think they did go ahead and finish up to the alley there by the barber shop. And this road here would be opened up by normal for several months. It'll move back to normal until we move back to the water project. And then, of course, this just started Saturday, so we didn't have a lot of time to be a lot closer or nothing, but, I contacted Sam Furch about helping us, just simply on those 3 inlets, 45 of them out, and getting away from those inlets. We've been just water main on those right here. So I got them circled. Just, and, replace the valve or 2 there and put 45s in them areas to get away so they can continue work right now. And the labor on his part and the equipment. And with us helping, it's at $30,000 just to relocate our mains around those 3 circles.
Would that
But
be
not the
included in
arterial
that
line.
10%?
No, no, no.
No,
No,
that's
not-
another
That's
option.
not an option.
That's-
But that doesn't include the full line.
No,
No,
it's
No.
just
no,
section.
that's just
Inland.
45 around those main
Yep.
areas, and that also, it's roughly 30,000, that does not include any parts, pipes, or valves. So you're looking at another 15 to 20.
Probably 20.
And then just to add to that, sorry, John, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you told me earlier, like, that's just going around where they wanna go. And then when they start the milling and all that stuff, then we're still gonna have the
Yes.
possibility that that line is still gonna break
Band-aid around
underneath
so
there.
they get their boxes in, then once they come through their deep patching and their milling machines, our old water main's still there, so if they break it in, we start over, you know?
So option 2 would get us out from all that, just start fresh and spring.
$50,000
I feel like
is a
that's our
lot
best
of money.
option.
But whatever you're talking about, $800,000 to replace the whole main. 50,000 ain't a whole lot.
and that, there have to be some discussion with NDOT. If NDOT says, no, tear the old main out, then that number's going
Yeah.
a lot higher.
Right.
So there'd have to be some discussion with NDOT up front on this cost estimate about, hey, well, what will you allow, what do you wanna see with that? So it's potentially be a decent amount more than that.
So, I think we need to make a decision on what we wanna do. Because, depending on what, well, either way, we're still gonna have to do their full 5 or 6 page thing, correct? So either way, we still have to do that. John Wetzel and your team will take care of that, is that correct?
If you want to, yes.
Right. So to kind of add to all of that, we're also putting him on retainer, so we'll have to do a formal vote on that as well.
And I'll just say this, I guess, you know, putting together that plan that they want, a preliminary plan sheet or sheets, and this cost estimate, would envision that we'd like to, again, have contact with NDOT and kind of get this developed in the next couple of weeks, but find out exactly, you know, hey, well, what are you gonna require for the old main? Can we leave it in there? What do we have to do? And then also coordinate with John and Devin. There's, I think, 13 service lines up through there, meters up through there. Obviously, the service lines for the main, you're gonna have to run a new service line over the meter. So there's a lot there, and then during construction, you kind of need to determine this now. This will impact costs. I don't know if a road closure would be allowed by NDOT to put that water main in, or if they'd say, no, we want you to keep the road open and do, kind of a 2 lane, so to speak, there. A little concerning, because we gotta stay far enough away from that existing water main. Probably the farther away the better, but we also have other utilities we're dealing with. You can't be too close to the sanitary sewer, which runs down the west side of 545.
It's gonna be pretty tight.
Yes. So sitting here right now, I don't know how that will be, but I think some discussions next few days to a week within NDOT on, here's some of those issues. What do you think, what would you allow, would need to be done before that could be finalized and reset to them?
Do you think you can have, between those discussions, what it's gonna take for you, your proposal, all of it together within the next month?
Oh, yeah.
For us to be able to evaluate that this is what we're looking at for the cost to narrow it down, for us to be able to look at those numbers? Because, I mean, right now, we can go on the assumption of they're gonna just do the 500 without understanding all the other costs that are gonna be added on top of that, which includes your time, and work, and anything else that they may or may not be willing to cover or to slide in, because we want to make sure that all clauses, change orders, whatever, are buttoned up to make sure that we don't get additional costs thrown onto us at the end.
And in the past, historically, historically, it would be better, obviously, a year ago, or whatever, this would have been agreed on by the parties, or not would have considered it then, but historically, though, if work like this takes place, that extraordinary agreement, that is the limit of the town's exposure, historically. And anything that NDOT has to do with their contractor, that is between them and their contractor, and if there's cost differences or increase in cost, NDOT has to handle that with their contractor.
All right.
I would say that they would wanna know before a month. So, yeah,
Sure.
wait till next month. Right now, we got it kind of frozen over
Yep,
here
we
at
do.
545.
Now, I don't have a problem with having a special, if we have to look at a special vote, if it's ready, let's say in a week or two, when everything gets lined out, instead of waiting till till our next meeting. I don't have an issue looking that over before then. Because I know this is a sensitive time.
The
issue.
sheriff told me that I'm holding up his workers, his contractors, holding up his job. I said, well, you're breaking the lane.
I've heard that for 20 years in
Yeah.
construction.
Yes.
Your fault told me that, my fault.
So there's nothing else to do, they've got plenty.
So, would anyone like to entertain a motion to go with option 2?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passed to go with option 2.
Need a separate motion to hire Commonwealth to do it?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I was getting to that.
This is for,
Now I need a motion to hire Commonwealth and John Wetzel to head this project and take all the responsibility.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
Second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're excited to do business with you.
Thank you, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much for coming tonight and, explaining all that and helping us out even within the last couple of weeks.
His charges after today will be part of the reimbursement on what we'll expect.
extraordinary cost.
The other issue that we kind of talked about, you've already had costs for fixing the water main, and just make sure documentation, you guys keep track of all that. Every cost that you had because of this should be able to be included in that cost. and under that extraordinary.
That was the
Some of-
fifth break over.
Some of this stuff they're telling me to already bill, like send an invoice to ENB that they would, contractor would reimburse us. So I don't wanna say we're not out cost yet, but then some of those things we've already invoiced
So we've had 5 water main breaks over there, should we say, when they say you're gonna pay 10%, should we just wait? And not charge the contractor, say, hey, this is how many thousands we've already been out, can that be part of the 10%?
That's a very good question. I don't know what stance NDOT will take and say, contractor, it's your problem, you pay it. It's kinda hard though, that contractor's in a bad spot because those mains, probably shouldn't be there, you know, and it should have been moved before we got there, but, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know how best to do that. I do think it would be worthwhile, as a minimum, getting those costs to NDOT immediately and saying, here's what we got so far. Do you want us to send it to your contractor, or is this gonna be, you know, you allow this to be part of that extraordinary cost agreement? And just see what NDOT says on that.
I thought you told me, John, if it was located, NDOT inspectors told you to go back on E&B when you went and bought that camera that time.
And we got pictures of where it was located, and they dug down, and they found our main, and they started setting a box next to it. As soon as they started setting a box next to it, you literally watch it, and it started breaking. Whenever you expose it to the air, when you take the earth off of it, it's unbelievable what that pipe will do.
Mm.
So the first time but yeah, if it's located, and they tear it up, but it wasn't negligence on their part, they didn't. Well,
They didn't hit it.
They hit it up here on Prosper. They actually was probing and took a crowbar, was tapping for the main, like tapping for the metal main, and tapped a hole right in it. That was negligence
On their
on their part. Over here, it was, you pulled up there and Karen actually walked over too. And I said, so you take the claim, asked the contractor, so you take the claim to break our main? He said, well, it wasn't leaking, the blue line was down, we knew where it was at, we just exposed it, we shoveled off of it, that next to it shoveled it, and it wasn't leaking until we did that. He said, so yeah, I guess I'll take claims to it. Third break, he said, no, I'm not gonna claim to it. He said they was just sitting there watching it.
I don't agree with that.
So he said, they always looked at it and just went apart.
I don't agree with that, because I watched what was happening, and I don't agree
I think
with
it should
that.
be submitted.
But either way, it's still money, we're out
Yeah.
on
Yes.
overtime parts to fix it, I just wanted to put that.
Yes. I think it should be submitted that way. The worst thing, it becomes a battle back of where they're gonna push back on it. But if we don't submit it and do it at the last minute, they're gonna look at it in a completely different manner of trying to throw in last minute costs. So I would get it in sooner rather than later and say this is gonna be part of.
We had time today to figure out the bills for Saturday, yet, so we'll get them all together. In the mail.
Yep.
Saturday will.
Take care of that.
Of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
Twice, twice today.
Yeah. You don't have to hit the light, right?
Well, that way. Thank you guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you,
And I'll be back to you for the next week or two.
Okay, yes.
Say some things about that.
If there's any emails you send or anything, tag Karen and Saffron, and they can get to work with the rest of the board, so.
Okay. All right, Luke, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Be safe. All right, moving on, so we're at the fire department. I have not heard anything from Jason Loney. Has anybody heard anything from Jason? Any kind of updates, reports, anything?
Nope.
I haven't talked to Jason since before the last meeting, so. Moving on, utilities, John, do you have anything else?
Yes, I do have some stuff, excuse me. The tie line up here, Telson is complete. Besides breaking out the old, I gotta hang some, solid blades up there with back feet, so it holds up for your system. Of course, I asked some board members, ride with me up there and showed you. We got some of the poles, we moved some of the poles out of the bottom of our movies. So addition onto the tie line, which I'm very happy for, because I was sweating this year when it was muddy out, how we would get out there to change anything, so everything's been moved up. We got there yesterday to take some of the stuff off the poles that's in those bottoms, the earth truck won't even reach it. It's going across the ditch and everything, so we're good there. So right now, sleep a little bit easier if we have a power outage and we can't get on the new substation step down. We do have a backup right now. It'll take me about an hour to get it switched over that we can backfeed. The substation, I messaged Phil Prestos, the engineer for the sub out here. He's wanting us to get the neutral finished before we put that new substation, or new transformer at the substation in row. He's a very intelligent person. I'm just a hillbilly guy, but I said, we don't have to finish running that neutral. We can put that in a row. He said, your Delta system, you can't do that right now. And we did the pie line. I shut our power off for Rudy's, all the houses up there. I had to do the Tel City's line, which is the Y line. And talked to that guy, and he said, yeah, that'll work. So right now, I think that we should be able to get that new substation. Got a lot of stuff going on over here, but soon. Okay? We gotta meet their standards when we wanna drop plans for it. We had the water meter, came in Sunday work, we had a water meter that meters all your water that comes from the wells in Tel City. It's a 6-inch meter, very expensive, $5,000 meter. And what that, it's electronic, and it basically controls your whole SCADA system, how much water's coming through, how much chlorine you're putting in your water, the treatment, everything, controls everything out there, going out. There's no water flowing through, so we're manually treating water, doing all that right now. I had to call the guy, $5,000 for the new meter. So we don't need the whole meter, we just need the guts out inside and the wiring inside of it, $3,000. And Donnie Quackenbush came up there, he's a very good guy, he's working on a lot of set up everything up there for Troy. And he said, you need to get that. So instead of ordering the $5,000 meter, I had him send me just the guts for the meter, and I'll install it and wire it all up. And so we wrote to the expense for $3,000, but this was an emergency. It controls everything up there, a little box, and it's very expensive. Other than that, I had to bring it back to the water line, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Do you have anything for streets?
There's a street going back to, Meg 2, which used to be called Kim Ward,
Or Kim?
and a guy stopped by complaining about a pothole out there.
He is the, I spoke with him, he is the, plant manager out there at Meg 2 now. And you know the name of that road?
It's,
Is it Solomon?
Solomon Road, I believe.
What's that road you live on?
Sure.
Okay, so it's Solomon Road, sorry, because I got the two confused.
So whenever you all annexed, we took over the roads out there. And when Jeff left, he was talking to me about one of the roads out there, so I some potholes starting at it. And he told me, he said, whenever Troy did that, they didn't actually take claim of that road. I don't know if this is true or not. We got to research. It's right on the state's approach, right off the side of the state's approach. So if that's our road, it's a huge chunk of it. We might have to get prices on some asphalt, fill it in, we could saw cut it out, then get some asphalt and fill it in.
Where's the state dumping their mill and overlay?
Well, the millings don't go up real well with jug holes, they kind of wash out real easy. Unless you torch them,
Good for a
they
bill.
remelt them.
He did say that the state did take care of the pothole on 545, it's just the remainder of it on Solomon Road.
So if it's very big, too much on us, would y'all want us to get a quote on that?
You get quote me and me.
Yeah, well, I was thinking through town and.
Yeah.
I'll find out for sure if it's the road that we did not take over when you all annexed.
Okay.
So that's all I have. Do you all have anything for me?
You've been handling quite a bit. Thank you.
Okay. If you all need anything, stop by here or give me a call.
All right, thank you, Don.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
We appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening.
Well, I'm good.
You too.
All right. I'll go ahead and go. For the flight update, I have several letters that I have to send. Off the top of my head, I guess I did like 4, but I might have some more that I need to add to that. Just, brass, just a bunch of stuff from the roadway, plus we've had a couple customer complaints. So I'll be working on those. I was hoping to have them done before tonight's meeting, and then we have this issue with NDOT, so I wasn't able to get to that. So I'll have an update before the next meeting. I believe that's all I have. Michelle's doing really good in the office. I'll say that. Michelle's been doing really good. She's picking up on the billing part. We started billing Monday, it's due Friday, and we submitted it today. So, of course, still kind of watching over her shoulder, but she's doing pretty good. She did some of it on her own today. So, throw that in there.
Good.
Yep. Adam?
The zoning map update on the cost on that, the code book and the ordinances, he suggested that we would do it all together, and we would have to get him ordinances, or for the code book, anything after 2014 and 2013 on the ordinances for him to get us a cost on that, because they have everything from 14 before. They just need everything from 14 after and 13 after on the ordinances to update those books and get me a cost on what it's gonna cost for a plat.
Okay, do you know how long it's gonna take for you to get that to them?
I don't even know where all the code book stuff is.
Ordinances are in the utility office where they've always been.
They're in
Filing
that,
cabinet.
one of the filing cabinets there by the door.
Okay.
So you're saying like the map itself and the books together?
No, we need anything from after,
I mean, is that what he was saying, was like you do
Yeah.
it all to, okay.
yeah, do it all together and then you get one lump sum of what it's gonna cost. The code book, right, because they did it back in the map in 06 or 07.
The map was in 7.
And then the code book, like I said, was done in, I think they did it in 14 or 13. He gave me 2 different dates on it. So we just have to get everything from after that on. Whatever's after that we would pull and I guess scan or whatever to him. Then he would get us a cost.
All right. Do you have anything else?
No,
Brett, do you have anything? Brandon's not here. We had a meeting. Jade?
Only thing is planning and zoning meeting next week.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So that one will be on, I believe it's Tuesday,
Okay.
Wednesday. Yeah, see, zoning meeting. We're gonna have that at 10:30 a.m. next Wednesday. See, I'm stuck on Tuesday. Next Wednesday, Chris Coffin will be here
Yes.
for that one.
It'll be in Monday's paper. Is that what you said?
yes.
Monday's, yeah.
Did speak to Chris at length of challenges. He will have the code books, everything that we can have in place, our next directions, and how to move forward if we want to retain him to start his portion of the paperwork.
Awesome.
So he will have that together and a list, so he can do it under one umbrella.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Saffron, do you have anything?
Yes. Last meeting, we had Jim Carter and Charlie Ballmeister were here for the animal control.
Yes.
So between then and now, they were having their meeting where they were trying to change from the 5-person board to the 7-person board. The 7-person board, then we would have a Troy representative, and then Adam had, I think they talked to him about it last year or when it happened. So they had their meeting last night, and the issue was tabled for a meeting on, I think he said September 3rd. but he said they're trying to keep this rolling, so they suggested that our council appoint Adam to the Perry County Animal Welfare Control Board with the contingency that the ordinance passes. So we would need a motion to appoint Adam to that board. That's what he expressed to me on the phone today.
All right. Anybody want to entertain a motion for
You
that?
want it?
Wow, yeah, I agreed to it last year.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
My suggestion.
Motion passed.
Right, what Chris is
Um,
doing next week.
on the animal welfare
It's a
board.
one sentence verbiage that aligns all the counties.
Do you have anything else, Barbara?
So I worked with him, I've just get it written up.
Okay.
Change that sentence and do it, why you have Chris in the room before he goes
Okay.
away.
Okay. I know.
That's all they're trying to do, they had to take out the verbiage, that the sheriff can do it versus the independent animal control officer. Change the verbiage.
Okay.
And then, and it match, and it should, yes, and it should match Troy, Tell City, County, as well as the county. And then it takes
And then they
all
can-
the red tape out.
Everybody can work together.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think we have any more old business. We have not had any correspondence that we're aware of.
Okay.
What's your name?
I'm Darla Templin.
Do you have anything?
I do, I have something I wanna bring before the board. I'm Darla Templin, my husband's Dave Templin, and we live at 425 Crossman. And, I wanna bring up a concern we have with the neighbor's dog. If I may, if you'll entertain me. This started shortly after the neighbors moved in. I believe their address is 415, I believe. And they have, 2 large dogs. And there's a wood fence that divides the 2 yards. And, the first event we had with them is my brother was spending a weekend at our home. And, their dogs are very loud and very aggressive and bark and growl and lunge at the fence and hit the fence. And they lunged so hard that they literally broke one of the boards through.
Do you have, I don't mean to cut you off, do you have a fence around your property?
Yes, we do.
Because I know you do in the back.
Our property, our yard is completely fenced in and we have 2 gates.
Okay, sorry,
Okay,
I didn't mean to cut
so-
you off.
This would be the west side is our common fence. So the dogs, growl and lunge and bark and knock the board down. So my brother nailed it back up. A few months later, my daughter and son-in-law were over visiting. My son was there and he has a 4-year-old. And my daughter has a very small dog that was in the yard and the dogs, they growl and bark and lunge at the fence anytime we're in the yard. Anytime I go out there, if they hear anyone speak, if they hear the door open, they growl and bark and lunge. We were all gathered in the backyard, the dogs, there's 2 of them, and they lunged at the fence and broke the board out. The head was through the fence, growling and barking at the 4-year-old and my daughter's little 10-pound dog. We were very concerned. My son-in-law called the police, and made a report. The lady who owns the dog, came out and was, this was a very heightened event. We've got a 4-year-old, we've got a small dog, and we've got a pit bull with his head through the fence. And I'm not exaggerating, snarling and growling and lunging repeatedly at the fence.
I haven't been over there for, to see that sort of behavior, but, I hear them every time we're on our back porch. I hear them barking.
Okay, I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name is Karen Crossley. I live over on the corner. Yeah, you stopped and talked to me. My dog likes to go over and play with your dog.
We have a golden doodle. Okay, they have, it's a pit bull mix, and it's really very long. It's a brindle, black and kind of brindle, and it's a very large dog. So it broke through the fence. My son-in-law called the police. The owner, the lady came out, and all right, this is just a fact. We try to be as kind as we can, and we have certain standards for the way we talk to people, and she was just ugly, profane, calling foulest names. And of course, my husband then is protecting me and my daughter, and returning in time, which isn't right, but that's what's going on. So my husband put nailed another board up there. So then on the third event, we had boards several times. The next event was the dog was growling, snarling, knocked one of the boards down again. When Troy had a marshal or deputy here, I told him about it. And he said, well, it would probably be best if this comes up again to call the Tell City Police. And he said, just to disclose, I want to let you know she is my sister. But I will make a report here.
Any animal issues that you have will have to go through the sheriff's office, not TCPD. So, which is perfectly fine, just letting you know that.
Okay, sheriff, you mean like Tell City Sheriff for the county?
The county sheriff, the county sheriff.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this goes
Yeah.
on, so there's more events. Okay, the first time my son-in-law called the Tell City Police. The third time, I just happened to be we were walking to the park and the sheriff or Troy's sheriff or whatever is driving by. I flagged him down and I told him what had happened. Okay, so that was on the third episode of breaking the fence down and growling at us. The first time my brother was there, 2 times my husband and I were there, one when my daughter was there, my son and the 4-year-old. The next time I was getting ready to go to the store, and I walked around the side of my house, it would be between our 2 homes. The pit bull once again broke a board out, his head is sticking out, snarling and growling, They happened to be leaving their home, and I went over and I said, your dog has broken the fence down again. I said, you need to do something about the dog. And so he went that time and got a board and nailed the board up there. And he did go buy extra boards. So he put new boards on his side, we put new boards on our side. So there's a section now that has 3 boards, so they're not breaking through there anymore. After that, we were sitting in our living room, this was last summer. We had our front door open, but the storm door, the glass storm door was closed. Our dog is on the floor in the living room. Both of their dogs were loose and were on our front porch with their feet on my storm door, growling at us inside our home. I called the Tell City Police. It was on a Ring camera. The policeman from Tell City saw it on our Ring camera. So this isn't just a story. This is, documented and verified. And they are very angry at us because we called the police on them. And I talked to them several times, and one time the daughter was just as ugly and profane as the mom, and after that, I'm not going to be nice anymore. I'm not going to agree that this is okay. And I want to know, does the town have ordinances against aggressive dogs? This is a pit bull mix that 3 times has broken through the fence, once on my porch, growling at us through our door. And this is a vicious breed of dog. I talked to the husband. And I told him, I am afraid of your dogs. I said, they're aggressive, they're damaging, they bark and growl. And he says, but they're not mean dogs. They may not be mean to you, but they are mean to me. If they're growling and snarling and barking every time I leave my back door in my fenced yard, there should be a barking dog ordinance. And I want to know, does the town have insurance, insuring against injuries due to mean aggressive dogs? Do you have insurance that would cover in case they get in my yard and injure me?
That would be on the.
That's on the owner of the pets.
Do you know that owner has insurance?
We don't, but that's.
It's a personal civil, so it goes against them personally, it will go against them, their houses, their possessions. It goes against them from a civil standpoint. From that, I'm just letting you know that if that were
I see
to,
where
I don't
that
want
is.
that, I don't want that to happen. But
Yeah.
if that were ever to happen and to harm, be
Yes,
outside of its control, harm any persons
or
or
my dog.
pets or anything else,
Mhm.
it is the homeowner's general responsibility from their stuff. So all of their stuff is what a litigation would be going
It would
against.
go on their homeowner's policy.
Can the
Yes.
town board
Yes.
put any pressure on them
Absolutely.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
control their animals?
One,
One
they
Yes.
have a nuisance, I think it's labeled as a nuisance.
Nuisance.
Yes.
I need
Yes.
to, I've seen it, I need to review it.
We have called several times to make, our concern known.
When was, you've given me over a year, at least
Yes.
over a year's worth of stuff.
Probably a year and a half.
Besides the barking, and that's enough. When was the last time that you had an aggressive, they are outside of the parameters of their home, breaking through your
That
fence?
that was last summer.
Okay,
You know,
Since
not
then?
this year, but last summer. They have not been on property since last year.
Okay.
They have not broken through the fence for probably 7 months now.
okay.
But
I'm not saying, I'm not negating it, I'm just trying to get the dates down.
I understand, but I just really hope you guys will understand that I live under this constant concern. I'm not saying fear, I'm saying I have a concern.
Absolutely.
Sure.
You know, I want to know that I'm safe in my yard. Now, my side yard is not fenced. You know, my whole backyard is fenced, but the side yard between our home and, their home is not fenced. But still, that's my yard. And I don't always feel safe walking in my own yard.
Right.
Because every time I might walk in my yard, they are at their house window growling and barking at me.
And
Okay.
see, the concern is not just for your safety, but if they were to get out of their fence, how far are they willing to go? Like those dogs, like how far do they roam from their property?
I know they've been over to Rocky Planning, which is our neighbor.
Right.
And
And we've got several families with children here in town and several, families out walking.
sure,
It's just an action.
and I know
that
there's a
happens.
new shop, and I'm not saying I'm there all the time, I don't see it all the time, but I don't see them walk there. Like, if we walk, Maddie, who's got a golden doodle, and I walk her around town, she's always on her leash, you know. And we make sure that she is well-trained and, obedient. She does not, I can let her loose in my yard, and she does not go out of our yard. She knows her boundaries. She can't go in the street, and she knows it. Because we've made a big effort to make sure that our dog is well-trained and obedient and not aggressive and not a loud barker. She's not allowed to bark at neighbors. Now, occasionally she will bark if there's somebody walking down the street.
Right.
But she does not go out onto the street. And I just would like to see that same kind of respect with their dogs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, just,
I will, like I said, I will review our ordinance, our dog ordinance, our nuisance ordinance, and I will definitely send them a letter.
may I get a copy of the ordinance also?
Absolutely.
Because I'm not expecting them to be unrealistic about, but I do safety,
Absolutely.
damage to our property. That does concern me. And I understand the town doesn't carry any kind of insurance, like if their dogs, that would be, and I do understand that's not a problem. But I don't want our safety to be a second thought because,
Right.
I
I can get that together for you, and then, I will be in the office tomorrow, so I'll get that for
I
you,
do
and then I'll
want-
give you a phone call.
Yeah.
And let you know,
Yeah.
that it's down here and ready for you to come pick up if you can.
do want a formal complaint lodged on
Absolutely,
Because-
we will 100% do that.
Yeah, and even if they're not breaking the fence down,
They're barking like,
they bark. Yeah, we're sitting
We
on
just
the
came from
porch.
out of town and
We have guests and
they,
You know, the
they're
whole
blowing
time-
nuts over there.
the whole time we're out in the yard, they bark.
We have to look at the ordinance to see what it says, but I just started seeing the barking part of it, but yeah,
We'll take a look at all of it and give you a
And
copy.
I will say, there has been some times when they seem to be better. You know, and I'm hoping that they are actually working with the dogs to try to help control that behavior.
Right.
Okay.
But,
We-
you know, I'm sorry.
We will-
I don't believe I'm prejudiced, but I do believe pit bulls can be dangerous dogs.
any dog can be dangerous.
Any dog can be dangerous.
Absolutely, I absolutely, any dog can be dangerous if they're not trained and maintained by their owner.
Have you regulated their on here, so
Okay.
that should give you.
Yeah,
Completely.
if they're not maintained by their owner or trained, you know, they can be dangerous, and I just, you know, I'm sorry, this has been going on for almost 2 years, and,
Well, we'll look into it.
Every time there's a
We can schedule
discussion.
our meeting at
yeah.
this point.
So we will look that up, we'll take your information, and we will
Yeah.
follow through with all of these, and
Yeah.
Karen will,
And I will
take
tell
your
you,
paper.
I tried very hard to be good friends with my neighbor. When they moved into the house, I took a welcome to the neighborhood bottle line. They were expecting a grandbaby, so I crocheted an Afghan for them. I knew they had a little grandbaby that was living there, so I gave her a child's table so they'd have something. You know, I wanted to be friends with my neighbor, you know, and even since this has happened, I said, you know, I really think that we'll get past this. And she is, don't speak,
So
you know. and
bringing
it's
it to our attention is one step. We will handle our portion of it. The next step, we'll give you that information.
Mhm.
If that one isn't working, as soon as you're given this information, if it isn't working, then you can definitely stop back in of what is or isn't working, and we can take that to the next
Yeah.
level, to the
Okay,
next step.
okay,
And I'll get that letter, I will make sure that that letter is done, by the end of this week and in the mail. So
thank you,
you're
thank
welcome.
you.
So I'll get that done, and then, I'll give you a call and let you know as soon as I have that ordinance ready for you.
Thank
And
you so much.
Yeah.
It's just that,
I'll make it a priority.
it's, you know, I can't even enjoy my backyard in the summer, because it's just, you know, and I do not allow our dog to bark.
Right.
In the backyard.
Right.
I mean, I think you can attest that we.
Oh, absolutely.
I think she barks at the squirrels in the tree.
Right.
But she does not bark the neighbor dog. I don't allow her to do that. She's obedient and she's not allowed to do that.
Mhm.
So I just would like to come to her feedback.
I have an appointment.
Yeah, we can do.
Okay.
All right,
Is there
thank you,
anything
Ms.
else?
Templin.
I don't have anything else.
All right. We
Okay,
do not
next
have
meeting?
anything else, so I need a motion to adjourn the
I'll
meeting.
make a motion.
A motion, next meeting?
Next meeting is September 10th at
Thank
6
you.
p.m. I need a second.
Give me a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. We can talk
So
more
much.
tomorrow. I need to pick up my son. No, you're good. I'm just gonna pick up my son tomorrow.
I don't want.
Well, at this point, I'll just not on the table.
I'm not.